Hey YouTube, Ricoknows here. Going to talk to you guys about the NFL draft. If you weren't aware, I'm breaking down every single team in the NFL draft and every single draft pick. I'm giving you analysis, review, assessing all the players, all that stuff. And if you ever wanted to see all the other videos, all the other draft reviews, you just go to the homepage, Ricoknows, and you go to the playlist, and under the playlist, you will see 2025 NFL draft reviews and assessments. Okay. If you want to see what I talked about the players before the draft, you can see that too. That's underneath the live tab, or it's right here underneath these videos when I did my NFL draft rankings. But, yeah, let's go. Let's talk about these Carolina Panthers. That's who we're talking about today. Carolina Panthers going into the draft, they needed an edge rusher, a safety, a corner, wide receiver, and defensive tackle. So here's what happened with the Carolina Panthers. They evaluated the hell out of every single edge rusher. They did that wholeheartedly, and they wanted to make sure that they were going to draft some of the best edge rushers. And I think in the process, they did the okey doke on some people, right? So they went out there and publicly said, Dan Morgan, shout out to him, former Miami Hurricane, great. You want to talk about greatest linebackers of all time? Dan Morgan, bro. Anyways, Dan Morgan comes out and says, yo, we want Jalen Walker at 8th overall. Everybody goes into a frenzy, into a panic, and they start ranking Jalen Walker really high. But when you evaluate Jalen Walker as an edge rusher, not as a linebacker, but somebody coming off the edge, you go, yeah, he's got some great skills up front, but he's 6'1", 240, and that doesn't really translate to the NFL. That's, dare I say, a tweener. So they put out the notion that we want Jalen Walker, and all they're really doing is trying to see if anybody's willing to trade up to get Jalen Walker. Nobody was. So they found no trade takers. That smoke and mirror show that they put out didn't really pan out. And then it comes the 8th overall pick, and who do they take? T-Mac. T-Mac. What up, man? Shout out to T-Mac, my number one wide receiver in the draft. I'm all on T-Mac. I'm all T-Mac all day. He was my number one guy. I don't give a shit about some 40 times they're talking about. I don't care about none of this. I've been watching T-Mac since Servite. He is him every time he gets on the field. This is an NFL wide receiver to me. I see him winning routes all day long. So they go and take T-Mac at 8. I think it's a slam dunk. Don't give a shit. Now, they still need to get an edge rusher. You can see it here. Their team needs. It's the number one thing. They need an edge rusher. So they evaluated all the edge rushers. All of them. And they put them on their big board. And they might have valued edge rushers more than other players. That's pretty normal. And I'd imagine on their big board, Nic Scourton had to be pretty high. This is a former Purdue pass rusher, transferred to Texas A&M. Lights out. Nic Scourton, watch his moves, watch his pass rush. The man's got spin moves for days. He's great. And I thought very highly of Nic Scourton. And I was so proud of them for not reaching and taking a player like Mike Green. You guys know how I feel about Mike Green. Some people are like, man, Mike Green's going to get 20 sacks in the NFL. Dude, he played in the Sun Belt and didn't lead the nation in sacks until the bowl game. Don't do this shit. Nic Scourton is him. Love this man's game. Everything about him. I thought it was a great pick. Where they took him, when they got him, and they addressed their needs. Now, anybody here done fantasy football? Anybody ever done fantasy football? You ever do a league where not everybody's active? One or two guys miss the draft? What happens in fantasy football when you miss the draft? You turn on auto draft. You do this auto drafting, and if you're good, you would have ranked the guys in certain orders. I think the Carolina Panthers ranked all their players, and they went AFK, bro. They went away from keyboard. They walked away, and they auto-drafted in the 3rd round, and they accidentally took a bum of a player. A terrible player. He's so bad we won't say his name on here, and I hope he's unemployed soon. You know what they could have done in this third pick, in the 3rd round right here? They could have took Cam Scatterbo. They wanted a running back. They take Trevor Etienne in the next round. Trevor Etienne's not terrible. You know, he's just a DUI away from not playing in the NFL. It's fine. Back-to-back auto draft was left on. You could have got Cam Scatterbo right here. You could have got Baishal Tootin right here. Could have got a great running back in the 3rd round. Instead, you leave auto draft on and get an unbearable human. And somebody wrote on TikTok, hey, Rico, what's wrong with this dude? Other than character concerns, why don't you like him? And then somebody just wrote under the comments, let's just say Rico and him have history together. They have history. Hate that dude for 2 years now. Miss me with that shit. Terrible draft pick. F+. F-. Trevor Etienne, not a bad pick. Not a bad pick. Then you go in the 4th round, you take Lathan Ransom. Once again, instead of taking that terrible defensive end in the 3rd round, you could have took Jonas Sanker. You could have took any safety that was available in the 3rd round, and there was really good ones still on the board. But instead, you take Lathan Ransom. Not a terrible pick. Shout out to Ohio State. When I turn on the tape, all I can tell you is Lathan Ransom hits hard. Steve Atwater type hit hard. This dude is an old school linebacker safety is what I meant to say. He's an old school safety, and he hits hard. I don't make mistakes all day. I've been making videos all day. Don't make them. Cam Jackson, underwhelming pick. Yes, he's 6'6", 230. Cam Jackson, man. My notes tell me this. If I'm watching him on tape, he either stands straight up and vertical, and he ends up on the defensive side of the ball. Understand what I'm saying? He does not reset the line of scrimmage. This guy's not going to make any plays for you. He's 6'6", 330. He's going to be two-gapping, occupying space, keeping the center and guards busy, which is great. You keep the linebackers clean, all that stuff. Maybe he's really good in the A-gap or in the zero technique when they're at the goal line. It's a situational draft pick in the 5th round. It's not the end of the world. It's just not the pick for me. That's all. Just me personally. I don't think Cam Jackson's an NFL football player. He's got the biggest body you're going to find. He's huge. I'm sure it's impressive. I don't know, but my girl told me size don't matter, and I believe her. She boosts my morale every day. I believe her. Okay? Next pick, Mitchell Evans in the 5th round, tight end, Notre Dame. Oh, my goodness. What do the NFL scouts see that I don't? Because when I watch tape, Mitchell Evans is him. Mitchell Evans gets on top of linebackers in a hurry. When he's in a 3-point stance, 2-point stance, doesn't matter. If you have a linebacker in coverage, he's going to get over the top of them instantly. I call it burst. Everybody's always saying no diddy, no diddy, no diddy. When I watch this dude on film, all I see is burst. And it's all over his back. No, I'm just saying. He's real, man. Mitchell Evans is a good football player. And to see him drop in the draft was really confusing to me. He's my 4th favorite tight end, not 4th ranked. Remember, I do a top 10. And then I pick 5 completely different guys that are my favorite tight ends. He was number 4 on my favorites list. I like the kid. I think he's a good player. And if you guys always talk about tight end U, who's tight end U? Notre Dame is up there. I've done a video on this. I've done the math. Notre Dame is tight end U. Oh, Rico, I thought it was Iowa. Just listen to me. Notre Dame puts out great products out of tight end, and I think Mitchell Evans is pretty damn good. I hated to see him drop all the way to the 5th round. And with the last pick, they take Jimmy Horn Jr. So, if you're watching the draft with me on the live stream, I didn't think Jimmy Horn Jr. would get drafted. First and foremost, Jimmy Horn Jr. was ranked somewhere around 35 for me, is what I think I said. 35 among all eligible wide receivers to be drafted. On average, the NFL drafts 33 every year. This year, they drafted 32. Jimmy Horn was the 25th wide receiver off the board. So, I think it's a reach, even though it's the end of the 6th round. I think it's a reach because I thought he would go undrafted and you could sign him as an undrafted free agent. What do I think of Jimmy Horn as a player? Well, I think he's tiny. 5'8", 174. Yes, he's pretty fast. I've always thought he was pretty fast. But when you're the 3rd best wide receiver on your college football team, you have a really hard time being successful in the NFL. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. You're number 3 on your college football team. I've watched Jimmy Horn Jr. drop screen passes, drags, easy routes, mental laps. Easy thing. You should be able to make the catch. He doesn't make them. Now, everybody by and large has told me he's had an amazing camp. He's had an amazing camp. He's been out there performing well. Well, I'd imagine so. I'd say that the Carolina Panthers don't have very good wide receivers in camp. They don't evaluate talent really well. So maybe he is better than some of the players on that team. That being said, I think it's a terrible draft pick because there were other receivers still available that I believe in wholeheartedly. Ricky White, the 3rd, UNLV, much more value. He can play special teams. He can play receiver better than Jimmy Horn Jr., and he can play special teams. Okay, he went a little later in the draft, but that's a young man I believe in. Another kid that I believe in, who was it? Don't misquote me. Who else was still available? Oh, yeah. Tez Johnson. Tez Johnson's still on the board. So, and Tez Johnson and Jimmy Horn are very similar. They are. Yes, Tez ran a slow 4. I don't care. Tez Johnson's same kind of thing. Good in space, kind of quick, make you miss, hurt you. Tez Johnson, to me, much better draft pick. Ricky White, the 3rd, much better draft picks over here. These aren't, the Tommy Malot's not even a fucking wide receiver, the quarterback. But it is what it is. Seeing them go all around here, these guys all right here, all 3 of these dudes, they're kind of similar. But Jimmy Horn, the least refined for me. It's not a terrible pick. It's the last pick in the 6th round or towards the end of the 6th round. It's not the end of the world. It's not a terrible pick. All in all, pretty good draft. Just fell asleep at the wheel. let the auto draft go. Drafted a bum, but everything else was okay. Not impact. Could have got maximum impact out of there if you got some other players. But apparently, the Carolina Panthers and we evaluate talent differently, and that's okay. We're not all going to be the same. You never forget that. Some scouts, some coaches, some GMs, we're all different. I evaluate film every day on Twitter, and I send it to certain coaches, and coach will write me back and be like, nah, Rico, I don't really like his tape. And some people write me back and go, hey, Rico, you said that kid wasn't very good, but he's got 2 FCS offers. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Well, I think he's an NAIA player. We just evaluate talent differently. Some of us value other things. Apparently, the Panthers and I differ. We evaluate talent differently. Right? Didn't you see my previous video where I talked about the Ravens and I evaluate talent the same? Yeah, think about which programs are signing the players I tell you that are good. The Ravens signed a bunch of players that I evaluated very highly and I think very good. Okay? The Browns drafted a bunch of players that I like. They're evaluating talent like me. Panthers, not. So you're out of the situation. They're the ones spreading rumors they like Jalen Walker, which is crazy. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all.